Hello friends, today we are going to see how to check the network connectivity and if the connectivity is there, how to load a web page in Android. So prior to the demo session, let me show you some classes which are mandatory for this session. So the first two classes, Connectivity Manager and the Network Info. So by using these two classes, we have to get the status of the network. Then followed by that, we'll be using Async Task class, that is to perform the background operations, because to load a web page it takes a couple of seconds, so that should be done in a separate worker thread. And followed by that, we'll be using a web view, that is to show the web page content. Apart from this, we have to use these two permissions. One is to access the network state, first one. Second one to use the internet. So let us see how to implement the whole stuff in Android Studio. So let me create a new project. So before that, I would like to show what we are going to do now. So here in my activity, I have a button with the label as check and load page. Now the network is there. I'm clicking it. You can see that it shows net is available. The page is loaded. Now I'm going to switch off the network. So it is disconnected. And I'm going to again check. You can see that net is not available. So this is what we are going to do now. Now let us give some name for our application. Let us say that network demo, some name. The next MD activity, click finish. Now I'm taking the activity main.xml. We are going to create a similar user interface. So we need a button. So I'm going to change the constraint layout to linear layout, which will be very simple. Then we don't want the text view. So first of all, let me put the orientation of the linear layout is vertical, because when the net is available, you can see that clicking it, net is available. So below to that, we want to load the web page. So, and that is done with the help of WebView. So we want a button followed by WebView. So let me create the button first. So let us say that width is match parent, height is a wrap content. And when we click the button, what should happen? That can be done through the on-click property. So let us say that do the process. So now it will show an error. Press Alt Enter. You will get an option like this. Click it. You can see that this method is automatically generated. So let us put some label also. Text. Let's say that check and load our page. So below to that, we are going to put a web view. We can say that width is match parent, height is wrap content, and put an ID for web view. So let us say that web ID, so that we can utilize the web view in our coding part. Now I am going to put ID for linear layout also, because we will be using the linear layout later. So let us say that linear. So now we are going to the main activity. So we have to use web view Let us say that WebView reference variable. I'm going to declare a reference variable of type linear layout. Then we have to use the connectivity manager class, and also we have to use the network information class. I explained about the WebView, connectivity manager, network info in the intro part. So now let us find the WebView. For that, WebView equal find view by id r dot id dot web id. If your SDK is lesser than 26 SDK 26, you will get an error in this line. You have to go for explicit typecast like this. So whoever uses uses SDK 26 or higher, you will not get any such error. And here it shows an error in the activity main.xml. You can put like this. There is no error. So if you are using SDK 26 or higher, no need to go for explicit typecast. And find the linear layout also. Linear layout. For that again, linear layout equal find view by id r dot id dot linear id. Now we are going to get the connectivity manager. Get the connectivity manager, who manages the connectivity. So take the reference variable. Then we are going to use the system service called connectivity service. Android provides so many default services. For example, Bluetooth service, Wi-Fi service. Like that, there is another inbuilt service which is called connectivity service. Now it shows an error. Just click somewhere here. You can see a error indicator. Click it and say that it should be casted to connectivity manager. That's it. So once the connectivity manager is initialized, we can code now in the do process. Here we are going to use the network information reference variable. Network info equal. Using the connectivity manager, we can call the method get the active network information. Get the active network. It may be mobile data or it may be Wi-Fi. So whatever is currently active. Now it shows an error. The error says that it needs the permission access network state. So click here, you can see the bulb error indicator. Click it. Give the provision that add that permission. Now we can see that the error is removed, and we can see that the permission is added in the manifest file here. And also provide the internet permission also. This is mandatory, otherwise during runtime we will not get the expected output. So these two permissions are mandatory for our current app. Now, if neither Wi-Fi off nor data also off, then the network information returns null. So we can check it. If network information is equal to null, we can say that display that no net. Else, we have to check that whether it is connected or not, whether it is connected or not. For that, using the network information, we can call a Boolean method is connected. Or if you want, we can check with is connected or connected. But it is safer to go with is connected. So here the difference is, if it is trying to get connected, also it returns true. So the safer one is connected. If it is connected, we can do our stuff. That is, we have to load the web page. So let us see how to display here. For that, either we can use toast for display or we can use the Snackbar. So here in my app, when I am clicking here, we can see that net is available. It is similar to toast, but the look and feel is totally different. That is done with the help of a standard class called Snackbar. So how can we provide such a look and feel? For that, we have to provide the material design. Take your app, module, right click, select open module settings, then select dependencies. So here we can see the add dependencies option. Select library dependency, just type design and click the button. So here in my system it shows design 27. So in your system it may be 26 or 25, but ensure that com.android.support :design that this labels are there, and click OK. Click OK. So if the network is equal to null, there is a standard class called Snackbar. You can see that it is coming in the package android.support.design which Snackbar. It is almost like a toaster. Instead of make text, here we have to type make. So where it should be displayed, we have to say that the first one is it should be on the linear layout. For that, we have already found the linear layout. You can say that linear layout. Then what content should be displayed? You can say that no connection or no net. Then whether it is a long duration or short duration, like that. In toast, we are saying that toast.short. So let us say that snackbar.length short and dot short. Don't forget to call the short. Now, I'm going to turn off my this connection ID connection mobile network. Now I'm going to run it in the same emulator. So now the app is installing. Now we are going to click it. We can see that it shows no connection. So if there is connection, and we can say that same line we can just copy. If it is connected, say that connection is available. Now let us run again. So this time I am going to enable the network. You can see that LT is enabled. Click it. It shows connection is available. So this is how to check the network connectivity in Android. So now we have to see how to load the web page in the WebView user interface. So that loading part, that is establishing connection with that resource and read the data from the internet resource, that must be done in a separate worker thread. So we are going to see how can we create that separate worker thread. So for that, Again, I'm going back to my project explorer. So here this is the place where my main activity is available. Just right click over the package, select a new Java class. Let us say that load my page, some class name, and it should be a subclass of async task. We can see that async task, there are three parameters: parents, progress, result. So we will see during the coding part. Now those three parameters we are going to specify. So here from the main activity we will be passing a URL in the form of a string, that is within double quotes. So that will be the first argument. So what is that input argument? And in between, if we publish any data, what should be the data type? In between, we are not going to publish anything. So keep it as void. And once the data is fully loaded, in which data type it should be returned. For that, we are going to use the string class. So this is for the input and this is for the output, that is finally what does it return. Now it shows an error, don't worry, just open the error indicator and click implement methods, because the doIn background method is an abstract class in the superclass called async task. So it is mandatory that we have to override this doIn background. So here we can see that it is a variable argument. So we can send n number of arguments. Right now I'm going to send only one URL. So first of all, take the URL from this variable argument. So let us say that string s equal to read the first element, say that string so 0. Now we are going to create an URL object from the given URL. For that, there is a standard class called URL which is in the package java.net. Okay. Just instantiate it and we can pass the s as the argument. Now when you create an URL object, it throws a checked exception call. It may throw a checked exception called man-found URL exception. Since it is a checked exception, we must handle it either by using try catch or by using throws. Now we have to open the connection. For that, URL dot, we can see there is a method called open connection, where this method returns URL connection instance. Now, when you try to open a connection, if the connection fails, it throws an exception called IO exception. So, since IO exception is also checked exception, it is mandatory that we have to handle it, say that add a catch clause. Next step is typecast URL connection to HTTP URL connection, where HTTP URL connection is a subclass of URL connection. So for that, I am declaring a reference of type HTTP URL connection and give the URL connection to HTTP URL connection. It shows an error to the typecast. Now using HTTP URL connection, we can set the read timeout. So how long we have to wait? We can say that 5 seconds. We can wait set the read timeout operation. And again, we can, if we want, we can specify what should be the request type. Set the request type. For that, HTTP URL connection instance dot set request method. We can specify it is a get. By default, the request method will be get. So this line is purely optional. So for the time being, I'm just commenting it. So if you want to specify it should be post, we can make it as post. By default, it will be get. So now we are going to connect with that. So now do the connect. For that, HTTP URL connection dot, there is a method called connect. So once it is connected, we can read the data from this URL. So for that, use HTTP URL connection dot, there is a method called get input stream. So by calling the get input stream, we are getting the reference of the input resource from where we have to read it. So I'm going to create a buffered reader so that we can efficiently read the data from that input stream. So buffered reader is a new buffered reader. Then we have to instantiate the new input stream reader, and within that we have to put input stream. So why we have to change like this? The reason is the input stream is a byte oriented stream where buffered reader is a character oriented stream. So there is a big gap between these two. Just to bridge the gap, we are using input stream reader object. Now I'm going to use a variable called a string. Let us say that data, an MD object, and I'm going to use the string builder class. So that is to append the data. We'll be reading line by line and appending to the string builder. Then, so in a web page, if you take the source, you can see the source code. There will be multiple lines. So we have to read line by line till there is no more data. So we need a looping. So in the looping, we'll be saying that read it in data by using buffered reader dot read line. So after reading, we have to check whether it is not equal to null or not. If it is not equal to null, then append the data in the string builder. So for that, use the string builder object dot, call the method append. This is the form we are using. Then we can say that test data. So as long as the data is there, everything is now appended to string builder. So once it is done, we can say that return the string builder, but don't put it like this, because here the return type is the string object. For that, we have to convert this into string object. So what we are returning here, we are returning a string object that will be passed as an argument to post execute method. So within the async task, we have to override a method called on post execute. So here in this line, we are returning a string object that will be passed as an argument to here yes. And here we have to, or we can say set or load yes into our web view. That's all. But how do we access web view? This is a separate class. Now there is no mean to access. For that, We'll go back to main activity. From here, we can pass our context to load my page class. So here, let us continue. So if the network is connected, we have to create the load page. So first of all, what we have to do is create an object of type load my page class. So for that, load my page, equal load my page. So during its object creation, we are going to say that we are going to pass our current object. Either we can pass get application context, or we can simply pass it as this, that is the current object. So it will show an error. We need to create a matching constructor in the load my page here. So now we are getting the main activities reference. So let me declare a main activity reference outside, because we have to take it outside. Main activity, we have to say that current objects main activity equal main activity. Now in the on post execute, we have to load that data which is available in S into WebView. For that, first of all, we need to find the WebView. Here we have the main activity reference dot. We can call WebView dot load data. So three arguments we have to pass. The first data, our whole web page content that is available with yes, then followed by what should be the data type, MIME type. We have to say that it is text, plain text, HTML content, that is the type and subtype. And followed by, we can say that some encoding it should follow. If you pass null, it will take the default encoding. So these are the three arguments we have to pass. The first one, what should be loaded. The second one, what is the type. Third one, encoding. So let me put it here. Data to load. Here, MIME type. Type and subtype. Type is text and subtype is HTML. And the last one is, it is about data encoding. If we want, we can specify UTF-8 within double quotes. There are so many standard encodings. You can search into Google and apply and try. Now, so I'm going back to the main activity. So here we have the object of type load my page. Now, the second step is we have to invoke the doing background method, because in load my page we can see that there is a method called doing background. So how it should be triggered? For that, using the load my page object, the second step, using the load my page object, we have to call a method called execute. We can see that execute n number of arguments we can pass. So right now, pass with http colon www.google.com. Don't miss this http, because if the http is not there, it gives an URL exception. Then we have the doing background file. So let us check it whether it is working or not. So now the data connection is on. Let me click the check and load page. We can see that page is loaded. Let me switch off the data connection and now click check and load. You can see no connection is available. So this is the procedure to check whether it is connected to network or not and how to load a web page. Thank you for watching this.